Starting tomorrow, Tuesday, 26th October 2021, the over 28,000 membership of the Health Service Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress have been directed by leadership to abandon their posts. Now, this is to protest government's decision not to review conditions of service of its members. They also cite government's decision to deliberately cause disharmony within the health sector. Franklin Owusu-Ansah is the General Secretary of the Health Services Workers Union of the Trade Union Congress. The Upper East Regional Branch of the Health Service Workers Union of the TUC have endorsed the call by the National Union.
As was declared last week, the red rounds atmosphere in various workplaces. The red bands must still fly high today to indicate our displeasure the mistreatment of government towards us, members of the Health Service Workers Union of TUC. It is pathetic to note that government has deliberately decided to cause this segregation, this harmony within the health service fraternity. This assertion stems from the fact that the collective agreement between Health Service Workers Union and the government since 2016 has not been fruitful. It has not been implemented, not at all. The review of the condition of service for Health Service Workers members has been long overdue also. After the sister union's condition of service, our colleagues who work with the various unions' condition of services have been worked on and have been implemented. What I'm telling members is that please, there will be a task force. What I'm saying is that every district we have a regional executive. Those regional executives will be task force who will be going to the various health facilities to ensure that, in fact, they say the office place is for government, but our service is for ourselves. So make sure that we are not going to lock the office because the office place is a space for everybody. But we are leaving the place, we make sure we work not all our members away from the various hospitals and then the directories. So there is a task force in place to ensure that this is compulsory for all members. And let me say HSW members, apart from doctors, nurses, and pharmacists. Most of all the people working in the health service are all disease control.
The Deputy Employment and Labour Relations Minister, Bright Reku-Brobe, joins us on the phone with some, understanding to this developments. Thank you very much, sir, for your time here on JoyNews Prime. 28,000 health workers to abandon their posts beginning tomorrow. Why have we looked on for this issue to deteriorate? Their concerns, they say, have not been addressed.
Well, good evening to you and good evening to the rest of Ghanaians. To begin with, it is not as if we've looked on to get this far. But, like I always say, matters of this nature are interministerial. It is not just one ministry handling. I mean, you need to work with the mother ministry, which is Ministry of Health. They'll be dealing with these are conditions of service. At some point, then they come in, Ministry of Finance will come in. There are issues of mandate, which we all have to work together so that we make sure that whatever is acceptable can also be paid. So these negotiations take a bit of time. And indeed, the technical people are mandated to do these kinds of exercise. Once it gets to this stage where we've got into, it is a bit of frustration. So then it's escalated to the ministerial level. So we have written to them to meet them tomorrow, God willing. And I am very sure and optimistic that as we meet them, we will be able to address most of the issues that are involved for them to go back to work.
But they also cite government's decision to deliberately cause disharmony within the health sector as part of the reasons why they are striking tomorrow. How do you address that?
Well, I'm not aware of that. Maybe when we meet them, they will bring that before us. But government cannot deliberately do this. You know, as union leaders, some people among their rank and file may be accusing them, may be alleging of one or two things against their members and so on. These are very normal in unionism. But for us as government, we will not deliberately say we are creating disharmony. What for? For us, we are addressing all their concerns. In the health sector, it is one sector that we have most unions. We have plenty of them. So what kind of disharmony would you want to create? We have been hearing all of them bit by bit. Every day, Fair Wages is meeting one health union or the other. So where is this disharmony issue or allegation coming from? But once we meet them and they raise it, I'm very sure we'll be able to address them.
But Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, we've seen a number of labor unions in the last few weeks, raise issues of conditions of service. Many of them are outstanding and have been on the books for many years. For instance, UTAG had its issues all the way, they're tracing it down to 2010. And many of these labor unions coming up. How does government have a plan to address this, in the long term?
Ernest, that's what I started by explaining to you, that the matters, they don't look simplistic as sometimes they are presented.
Okay.
They start with the unions themselves, putting together their conditions of service. They will serve government will go back to them, and when I say government, I mean Fair Wages, which is dealing with them.
Yeah.
So it's a process. At some point, when they even bring it to government level, Fair Wages will also have to then come to the ministry. Then we sit together with the mother ministry who has the budget, and then finance who is also ensuring that they can pay within reasonable limits. So these things don't just happen at night and we say we are okay and it's going.
But for some of the issues...
The second leg is that
yes, sir.
You are even citing 2010. If these matters were that simple, why would they be there from 2010 to date? We have been resolving the matter. You would see that from 2017, this government has done its best to address issues that were not able to be addressed way back from 2010. So if you see light at the end of the tunnel, and then you say you want to go on strike, that's quite unfortunate. So I am pleading with them that we have extended a hand of invitation to them. Tomorrow, God willing, we are meeting them. My minister is so passionate about these issues. When they come, immediately he wants to meet them and resolve them. And in all these cases, we also give credit to the labor unions. They have understood that spirit of tripartism. So when we meet and talk, some of these things are resolved. It's unfortunate that against this far that we have to be talking on air.
Can we expect an intervention to reverse this strike action? Can we expect that?
Oh, I am very optimistic that when we meet tomorrow, after all, the basis of they saying they are going on strike is because they felt that they were not being attended to, or we are not responding to one or two issues that they have raised, or the request that they are trying to. And so if we meet tomorrow, then we put all these matters on the table. I am sure based on how we would have the discussion with them, and based on assurances that they will have, there will not be any need for strike.
Thank you very much. That's the Deputy Minister in charge of Employment and Labour Relations, Bright Rekubrobe there.